Is this you?
Oh no.
Yeah, that's what you get for going European. And did you just hear? Ferrari is recalling over 23,000 Ferraris because of catastrophic brake failure. Scary. European cars are the worst, or at least you might think that if you listen to the internet. So, to borrow a phrase from my favorite breakfast duo, let's talk about that. In the car world, it seems like there's a ton of huge contradictions. First off, British luxury is top tier. German engineering is unrivaled. Italy is the leader of pure speed. And now brake failure? And you should never ever buy any of them because these amazingly engineered, luxurious, and innovative cars are also sometimes overly engineered, needlessly complicated, and entirely too expensive. So, where does all this praise come from then? Well, like any good book, we can start with some history. As recently as the 1990s, Germany was synonymous with no-nonsense engineering. That goes way back to even before World War II. Ever heard of people like Rudolf Diesel and Felix Wankel? There's a reason they studied in Germany, and even now, German engineering schools are some of the best on earth. They take it really, really seriously, and across the pond, you can start your journey to becoming a doctor of engineering in high school. Try that in the States. It's not gonna happen. And chances are you're actually gonna find a good job with a company like Audi, whose entire company's motive has always been Vorsprung der Technik, or progress through technology. And right next door, the eggheads in France aren't sleeping on the job either. Hey, do you remember the 2CV? That's a car that you can fix with just a single pipe wrench and a hammer. A car that helped pave the way for the front-wheel drive revolution. Or how about Bugatti with the Type 35? You know, one of the most successful race cars ever built. The philosophy behind it was to improve all other race cars by making it lighter, innovating new technology to make it simpler and able to outrun and outlast everything out there. They traded ball valves, complicated brake systems, and heavy metals like cast iron for completely modern systems like disc brakes and used smaller, more reliable engines that were more efficient. Those are very contemporary concepts for a car built in 1924. But they have nothing on the Italians for fast cars. Or do they? You got Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati, Lancia, Fiat. Whoa, I'm surrounded by royalty. Or are they surrounded by royalty? Anyway, all of them are known for two things: being beautiful and being fast. The land of pasta is nothing if not the art capital on earth, and it shows in their designs. The Miura, it's gorgeous. I could kiss that thing. The Lancia 037 is stunning. The Ferrari 250 GT inspired a ton of copycats. That styling is only matched by the insane need for speed. Lancia is famous for sacrificing things like safety in the name of fast. And Ferrari, they are the benchmark that other makers race against. Even comfort takes a back seat, something no one can say about our friends in the British Isles.
Cheers, mate.
Now, think of a car that royalty would drive. Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Aston Martin, they have that something. The feeling of a fine amber beverage, a heavy robe, and a cigar. Nowadays, Land Rover literally makes the vehicles that most rich people drive. They are that nice. Too bad these are all terrible financial decisions, right? Here's the thing though. Sometimes innovation, precision engineering, and pushing technological boundaries can get messy. If a car company like Mercedes innovates, like say they create a brand new integrated computer system that can link all of the engine systems together for maximum efficiency. Well, that's something that isn't proven and can break. And when it breaks, no one knows how to fix it because it's new. No one has been trained on it. So, what if you want luxury? Well, that means complicated systems. Modern luxury means infotainment, heated, cooled, 10-way adjustable seats, and automatic temperature controls. That's all complication. I mean, ask Trav about how many miles of wiring are in his old Land Rover. Then imagine how many more systems are in a fancier Range Rover. And of course, there's the biggest sacrifice of all. When you focus on speed and beauty, and you make a Ferrari 458, you leave practicality behind. Quality and reliability of some of these bits, like a door latch or a wing mirror motor, or a brake fluid reservoir cap is the first thing to go. Hence why Ferrari is recalling every Ferrari ever built since 2005. Yes, like I said, over 23,000 are at the risk of catastrophic brake failure. So behind those beautiful body lines lies potentially an owner's worst nightmare, which is really the biggest problem, right? Working on innovative precision cars is hard. We talked recently about how Audi put the timing chain on the back of the engine and how much of a nightmare that is. That's just one example of a European company doing something that's questionable. Sure, it might mean that the engine is 0.001% more efficient or lightweight or whatever the case may be, but it's hard to believe that's worth the nightmare of having to fix it when it breaks. Of course, that translates to high labor costs for you and me. If you have to pay a mechanic to change plugs on a car, which do you think is gonna cost more? A V8 powered Ford Mustang where the plugs are easy to get to, or a V6 Maserati where the engine is covered by difficult to remove plastic noise insulating bits and you have to remove entire components just to get to the plugs, and then there isn't enough room to swing a normal wrench, and it doesn't just use a 5/16 spark plug socket, but instead the plugs are a weird 12-point spline drive job? I mean, it is 2 less plugs, you are right. Should be cheaper, right? Even the holy grail of reliable BMWs, anything with an M54, is so complicated that even seasoned mechanics like our friend the Car Wizard will refuse to touch them. Trav likes to work on them though, but let's be honest, he's kind of a weird guy.
What? What kind of engineering is that?
If you can even work on them, since the other major problem is that some of the parts are hard to come by. For those of us in the States, there's an ocean between us and the people making the parts. That's true for most cars, since most cars are actually made using Chinese parts. The thing is, the company of origin is usually the one who gets priority on the parts. Bosch parts are easy to find in Germany. They can be downright impossible to get in the States, especially if they are older. And it's a toss-up of whether or not the guy at Pep Boys can even pronounce Lancia, or is it Lancia? They absolutely won't have the bushings that you need. Those things combined, the added complexity of being on the cutting edge, the engineering forward focus that neglects the mechanic, and the extra cost of parts leads to the absolute worst part of buying a European car, especially used. And it's called deferred maintenance. Because parts, well, they're expensive, and mechanics, they charge a lot. People tend to neglect their European cars. Here's the thing about precision engineering or innovative designs. They need more maintenance. German bearings are pieces of art. They work amazingly, but if they run out of oil, they self-destruct very quickly. Just ask any Porsche owner. And when people put off maintenance, the entire car becomes a time bomb, regardless of quality. And that's why you can buy a Maserati for pennies on the dollar, or an old Mercedes for even less. It's because you spend even more money on them than a new car, just doing all the work that the last owner didn't. Or you're about to spend a ton of money fixing something that's broken since it wasn't maintained. In the end though, I wouldn't actually say that Euro cars are the worst. They just take a special touch that many people aren't cut out for. Unless you're talking about your wallet, in which case, yes, 1,000 times, they are the worst. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed a fun little look at why something can be so amazing, but also terrible. Do you like Euro cars? Which ones? Mad I didn't mention the Lada? Let me know. Otherwise, watch this beginner series up here, or check out what YouTube thinks you should watch. I'm Brad, this is Ideal, and promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.